You have probably seen a bunch of videos like all slandering a very specific operator as them being the objectively worst character in Arknights. The kit makes no sense. They literally nerf themselves when you E2 them. Hypergriff hates full post. Okay, that one might have been me, but honestly, can you blame me? I swear to God, Hypergriff throws a dart at a board while blindfolded to decide what a Volpo operator does, because there's no consistency with them. But getting back on topic, in case you haven't figured out who it is, then that operator is Frostleaf, the Volpo Lord Guard slow DPS from the launch of Arknights. I'll be honest, this is beating a dead horse by now. Everyone and their mother has talked about how Frostleaf is less than desirable for a normal team. But as a E2 level 40 max module Frostleaf enjoyer, this has indeed troubled me. So that's why I settled on this journey on making a redesigned Frostleaf. Although this is closer to what an Altar 5-star would look like, not an actual rework of her 4-star kit. But first, let's see why people don't like the current Frostleaf. If you're part of my community, you're already aware that I asked on the Discord server, which you should join, link down in the description, but also on Reddit, why they personally think that Frostleaf isn't great, and well, they answered fast. One of the peeps actually answering the call was none other than Mr. Doctoroid Pit Happy, that basically summed up the main complaint points. Her increased attack interval on E2 makes her rotation feel awkward and inconsistent. Her skill 2 SP costs are too high for a lackluster effect, and also because Frostleaf has no starting SP, her skill only happens once in a full moon. Her module makes her reliant on other units to make it synergize, because unless you're in IS, most of the time she won't be able to apply cold by herself, and not only that, she steals cold procs from allies that actually care about cold. And to finish it up, the fact that her role as a 4-star guard lord is simply outshined by Arene, which has better stats, skills, and overall damage, while Frostleaf is in this awkward spot as an unreliable CC applicator that deals negligible damage, let's be honest. After getting to the pain points as to why people didn't like the current Frostleaf, I saw two options to go with this redesign while maintaining her status as a guard lord. First, go with a single target DPS that can be a bit more consistent with her slows and focusing on delaying elites and bosses. Or make a hard focus on Frostleaf being a cold applier with new ways of applying cold, and by effect make her better at delaying packs of mobs and elites. I ended up deciding on the latter one. So I present to you Frostleaf the Everwinter! Well, no, the name is not the greatest one. I'm not good with these. You should have known this by now. Essentially, this new Frostleaf would be getting a new talent, new module, and new skills with an entire different focus, that being shattering enemies. What does shattering mean? I'll explain further down the line. So, let's get into specifics. First, her talents. Talent 1 is Chilling Strikes. Range increases, attack interval increases, but attacks now have a 25% chance to apply cold for 3 seconds. And you might be thinking, Raycon, why even keep the attack interval increase? That's what people hate about the current Frostleaf. And also, this is just her current module, but instead of 1.5 seconds, it's 3 seconds. And to that I say, yeah, you are right that this is just her module, but if anything, that just shows how weird something that should be base kit is currently locked under a module, and the issue with the attack speed interval increase is how it interacts with her current 4-star kit. Here on this kit, it allows me to allocate more power elsewhere, especially with her unique second talent. That second talent is Crushing Ice. Ranged attacks now have a 10% chance to shatter frozen enemies, and shattering, what it means is that an attack removes the frozen status but deals AoE % damage of that attack that's shattered to surrounding enemies and applies cold to them for 3 seconds. With these two talents, Frostleaf is now more consistent with her cold identity, while also allowing her to be useful even in her downtime with just normal ranged attacks. While also having this new shatter mechanic, which bundled with her abilities, will allow her to do some cool stuff. For example, with her skill 1, called Shattering Strike, it costs 3 SP, has offensive recovery, and holds 2 charges. And the effect that it does is the following. The next attack is enhanced, deals extra physical damage, and applies cold for 3 seconds, and increases the shatter's chance from talent 2 to 100%. This gives her active control over her new shatter mechanic, being able to make it so that she can shatter without having to always rely on her RNG, and even by herself be able to freeze multiple enemies at the same time as well. And with her coolest skill, the next one, the second one, being Frozen Valley, she'll be able to do even cooler stuff. Here's what it does. It costs 35 SP, it is on auto recovery, and the effect is the following. Frostleaf will cleave the 6 tiles in front of her, dealing % physical attack damage to all enemies, and freezing the tiles for 10 seconds. And you might be wondering, what does freezing the tiles mean? Well, it's very simple. These frozen tiles reduce movement speed by 50% to all units on them, apply cold to enemies on them as well as they traverse, and instantly shatters any frozen enemies on them. This shatter deals extra damage with 50% of that damage splashing to nearby units and applying cold as well for 30 seconds. The skill essentially lets her create chain reactions, making her a true master of cold. Her module would be a simple one, let's not be too crazy here. It would just simply increase her shatter chance from 10% to 25% at max level, just to increase her consistency here. In the end, with these new skills and talents, essentially would make Frostleaf a solid member of cold teams, with a decent CC application of her own outside of those cold teams. Where versus at the moment, let's be honest, Frostleaf does not get any use, IS or not, even with a high attack speed or not. She's not really being used as much because she is too clunky, right? Her skill 1, making enemies just slow, is not that special because it's on a weird like SP count and it's on auto recovery, so she always has to wait an extra weird second on there. Her S2 is just too long and has no initial SP, so you're always in this weird contrary fight with Frostleaf, her current 4-star version. While with this one, she actually has a specific niche, that being cold, and also a specific mechanic that makes her interesting, whereas the old one just has none of them. But at the end of the day, I made this kit for fun. I'm not a professional game designer. I just wanted to imagine a world where Frostleaf actually gets an alter or perhaps somehow a rework of her 4-star version. And making it was fun. I actually might make more of these for other characters that I like, especially because it was made together with my community on Discord. Although their main job was mostly stopping me from creating an overpowered beast or messing around with the numbers. For example, one of the first kits that I designed for Frostleaf is that she would be doing 110% attack arts damage, ranged attacks that always apply cold. That didn't last long. I immediately had that shut down by my community. And also the numbers as well were a very hot debated topic, especially her skill 1. I'll show up an image of us discussing this. There was straight up paragraphs of us debating if making the skill 3 SP instead of 4 SP would make that much of a difference on overpoweredness. And all this for a fictional Frostleaf alter kit, you see? Like, we were just having such a blast with it, and I actually want to know, what would you redesign on Frostleaf or any other character that you think have a currently underwhelming kit? Make sure to leave a comment down below for that. Also, if you want me to redesign any other characters that you might think I could possibly do, make sure to leave their name down below as well. And also, leave a like if you liked the video, subscribe if you want more of these, and I hope you all have a good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or good night, and I'll see you all on the next one. Bye bye! Also, Hypergriff had more vocals now!